things up, the checking and savings accounts at your bank or maybe multiple banks, all of that, if not set up correctly, would end up going through the probate court, which is costly from a financial perspective, but also can be costly from a time perspective.
Years at sometimes I've heard these things can take years,
especially
if it's challenged.
Especially if it's challenged, which is what we're talking about today.
That's exactly right.
If you don't make your wishes known while you're still alive, it can have just a very traumatic effect on your family and on those you're leaving behind. And so that really kind of leads me to the second point, which we'll get to when we come back from break.
Yes, Andrew, real quick,
Sure.
How do they get hold of you?
Yeah, give me a call, 913-782-1044.
And you're right at the intersection of Merlin and 135th?
You got it, right there in Olathe.
Right there in Olathe.
Yes, sir.
All right, we are going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined for our final segment with Andrew McLaughlin, Edward Jones, financial advisor. This is Kansas City.
WHB Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades. Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, race fans. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. We've got a heck of a show lined up for you today. Ben Shelton is going to be joining us here in a little bit, and Casey Schumann also going to be talking about high-limit racing. Right, Kurt?
Yeah, big weekend coming up in a couple of weeks out at I-70 Speedway. $26,000 to win on Saturday night with the Rudine Foundation event. That'll probably be outside of the original event at I-70 when they had the World of Outlaws out there a couple of years ago. This will be the biggest event they've had since then.
Is that going to be a 2-day show?
2-day show, Friday and Saturday. So a lot of money on the line.
Right.
And I think we're probably going to see the biggest crowds we've seen at the I-70 dirt track since that opening night a couple of years ago. So no doubt this is a big event coming up.
Also, we have some recorded interviews from Garrett Williamson, Connor Wade, and Chase Rodman as well.
Yeah, and maybe we'll squeeze in Logan Seavey, talk with him after his midget win at Sweet Springs the other night. So, and how about Kaylee Bryson becoming the first woman to win a USAC National Tour event? Saw her do that in person at Belleville last Saturday night on the big half mile in a Silver Crown car.
That's old news, Kurt.
Brady Bacon had his engine blow up, and Kaylee Bryson
picks up the win
right there to make it happen.
Right.
Congratulations to her.
Hey, what about Ricky Thornton Jr. going back-to-back down there at the Show Me 100? What do you think about that? He picked up the Cowboy Classic, and last night the Don and Billy Gibbons.
Don and Billy Gibson,
yeah.
And they were there last night. The founders of the Show Me 100 at West Plains Motor Speedway. Great people, Don and Billy Gibson. Remember them in the heyday of West Plains and the Show Me 100, and glad to see they're both doing well. And the tribute to Don and Billy last night, and the Cowboy Classic on Thursday night.
Right.
Recognizing our old friend Cowboy Chancellor, who passed away a number of years ago. Harriet still there. She's looking good. Presented the trophy to RTJ on Thursday night, and now we're ready for the big show tonight. Yeah, how can you bet against RTJ tonight?
I have a problem betting against RTJ tonight. To be honest with you, he was really dominant over the course of the last 2 races, wasn't he?
He's wanting to make amends from a year ago. If you remember, he won the race a year ago.
He won
got
the race
DQ'd in post-race tech
because of the droop rule.
Yeah.
Right?
He had hit the wall that broke a bracket on that car that caused him to fail the droop test, and therefore handing the win to Devin Moran, who last night was his fiercest challenger. Devin Moran had a fast race car last night. the defending winner of the Show Me 100. But you got to throw Jonathan Davenport into the mix, too, with the number of races that he's won at Lucas Oil Speedway. I would say Jonathan Davenport and Devin Moran are the biggest threat to Ricky Thornton Jr. tonight.
I would agree with that. Do you think JD's got you think he's got a chance to win this race?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten around that racetrack in winning fashion more times than anybody in a late model over the last couple of years. He just, he's got that one Show Me 100 win from back in 2015 when they ran it in July that year because it rained it out over the Memorial Weekend that year. But he's got one Show Me 100 win.
Listen, Todd, let me just ask you this. Kirk is the best at remembering dates.
Well, I remember these
Isn't
races.
He is the absolute best at remembering dates.
Yeah, even my wife, we were talking about something, and I said, and she goes, well, of course Kirk knew the day, because he just,
right.
And she's a casual listener. She knows, and so she knows that Kirk will pull a date out of anywhere, so, yeah.
Well, JD probably should have won the race 2 years ago when Chris Ferguson won. Had he not spun out down in turn number 4, I think he had the fastest car a couple of years ago. Hudson O'Neal, another former winner of this event. Peyton Looney won this race in 2020. They didn't have it in 2019. You remember that bad storm hit the racetrack.
Yeah.
So, I've been going to the Show Me 100 since it was in West Plains. So this is a big deal.
You're not going this weekend.
I can't go tonight because I want to attend a family gathering today up in Iowa, so that is a little more important than going to one race.
Family first.
Family first.
Always family first.
So I'm heading to Iowa here. I'm going the other direction tonight, so hopefully Mother Nature can cooperate. We don't get any bad weather. They dodged a bullet last night. It looked like rain was coming in last night. They all went south.
That rain looked like, when they had that camera shot and it showed the rain off in the distance, I thought it was going to rain out for sure. Didn't you?
And they prepped the track with the idea that they were going to get a big rain shower.
Right.
And they had to go in and do some work on the racetrack to get it because they expected that rain to come. And I got to say, what a great job they've done bringing in new dirt at Lucas Oil Speedway. You saw it down there a couple of weeks ago for the
track
Impact Signs, Awnings, and Wraps Open Wheel Classic, but that new dirt's really worked out pretty well.
That track is better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's the best we've ever seen it.
That racetrack last night, there was a top, a bottom, and you could race through the middle a little bit.
And didn't look like a threat of taking any rubber, which we've seen over the years.
Take a little rubber.
That bodes well for tonight. I think we're going to see a great race tonight down there.
What about David Gravel winning the race at Atomic? What did you think about that race, Kurt?
His 8th win.
8th win of the year.
5 out of the last 7. David Gravel is on fire. And he is he's on his way to winning his first World of Outlaws championship. I know there's a long way to go. A lot of things can happen.
Kirk, don't say that, because David Gravel could get in a rut and have a few bad wrecks, and Donnie Schatz could overtake him.
He could, but it just don't seem like that's going to happen.
Donnie Schatz is 64 points behind David Gravel right now.
Yeah. No, it's too early to declare any kind of a championship, but he's obviously got things cooking right now. But one driver who doesn't have things going very well is Sheldon Hodenshield, who wrecked his car again after twice last Saturday night. Sheldon Hodenshield got upside down again last night.
I know it.
Not good.
Tore up that wing pretty good, too.
How many wings do they have?
They had a bent radius rod. Did you notice when he went back out, his tire was wobbling a little bit?
It wasn't right when he went back out. And he ended up pulling in because of it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So he didn't finish the race. But I thought Brady Bacon was going to be the guy to beat. He was on the pole. He was looking good.
He ended up running he started 5th, and he ended up running 21st.
Of course, he was looking for his second World of Outlaws win because he won at Hobstadt here a few weeks back, and starting on the pole looked like he was going to be the man to beat. But lap traffic really hurt Brady in last night's race.
I felt like that Brady Bacon had a chance to win that race.
Sure.
But the problem is Brady Bacon was driving the car a little bit too hard, and when he got into that lap traffic, David Gravel said that he could tell that he was driving the car a little bit too hard, and that he knew that he couldn't drive the traffic that way, and David Gravel ended up getting around Brady Bacon for the win, and Brady Bacon ended up running sixth.
Yeah, it was David Gravel, Carson Macedo, Buddy Kofoid, Cole Duncan, Donnie Schatz, and then Brady Bacon.
What do we know about Cole Duncan?
He's an Ohio guy. Mm-hmm. He's run pretty well at places like Attica and Fremont, and he's one of these young guys that's really turned a lot of heads this year.
Did you feel like that Carson Macedo had a chance to run him down right there at the end of the race? Because David Gravel was in lap traffic, and he was having a hard time getting through that lap traffic, and I thought that for a second there, I thought Carson Macedo was going to catch him, didn't you?
Yeah, it's one of these situations where being second is an advantage.
Right.
When you're the leader, you don't know where anybody's going. You're just trying to navigate through traffic. When you're running second, you're at a little bit of an advantage to see what Gravel is doing. You can work, he can go where the leader ain't. And sure, I thought Macedo had a shot at him there at the end, but Gravel did just such a great job working the traffic through those last several laps. He maneuvered his way to the checkered flag, but it wasn't easy for him. How about Buddy Kofoid? He did same as what Carson Macedo was doing. He was doing a good job of getting through the traffic as well.
Buddy Kofoid, I'm just going to say it. I like Buddy Kofoid. I think that he is probably one of the most talented drivers in the world of outlaws, and he drives the Roth Motorsports car, and I think that he's going to pick up some wins this year, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, he already has. Mm-hmm. So he won that race here about a week ago, and so, yeah, Buddy's going to win more races because if he's not winning, he's finished up front. He's got a number of podium finishes this year. And so there's more wins to be had for Buddy Kofoid in that Roth Motorsports 83 car. They ran midgets at Atomic Speedway last night as well, and Ryan Timms coming through with the win.
Beat Jade Avedisian.
Cale Drake was the man to beat. Cale Drake, we saw him out at Sweet Springs. He led that race out there until he got into some trouble in turn number 2. He wasn't able to finish, and then at Belleville last weekend, Cale Drake came from 12th to as high as 2nd before ending up 3rd. He's running up front, just not been able to close it off. And Ryan Timms, who was handed a win at Humboldt here a few weeks back, now saw the other side of it, where he took a win when Cale Drake blows a tire in that midget feature.
Right. Cale Drake ended up running 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad for Cale, but he's running well enough. His win's coming.
Yep.
But Jade finishing a pretty solid second. Jade Avedisian. So, good racing at Atomic Speedway out in Ohio last night. The High Limit Series will be opening up their weekend tonight at Port Royal Speedway. This is a must-see event. Port Royal, big, slick, half-mile racetrack. There'll be a lot of slide jobs up there for the Weichert Memorial, both tonight and tomorrow night. You can watch that on Flow Racing. So the High Limit Series in Pennsylvania this weekend.
How about Logan Seavey winning the Tony Homan Classic? What'd you think about that
Big
race?
win for Logan Seavey. That is a race that he had not won. Interviewed Logan Seavey after his midget victory at Sweet Springs on Sunday night, and he said that was a race that he wants to badly win. I would say that might be the biggest non-wing, the most prestigious non-wing sprint car race in the country, the Holman Classic at Terre Haute. Wouldn't you say?
I would say that. Kirk, you want to do that National Sprint Car Hall of Fame?
Yes, sir. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open for business. Of course, next weekend is the big weekend, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. will be going on a week from today on the grounds of the Marion County Fairgrounds. And the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum will be open. Of course, they're racing there tonight. Check out the Salute to Eldora Speedway while you're up there. They got a lot of new exhibits around the Eldora Speedway. And also, the construction is underway for the new Dennis Allbaugh Suite Tower. That's on the other side where the Brian Clausen Suite Tower. So they're working on that. A lot of great things going on up there. Of course, the Corvette giveaway. They'll be doing that a week after the Knoxville Nationals. The Torch Red Corvette convertible Z07 performance package plus $25,000 to the grand prize winner. Go to winaz06corvette.com to get signed up for that. And, of course, they'll be giving away a race-ready sprint car again this year. They do this every 2 years. Triple X chassis with the Al Parker Racing engine. winasprintcar.com to get registered for that. National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum open 7 days a week, and I can't wait for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony coming up next Saturday. We see that Tracy Hines is one of the drivers that's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Deuce Terrell and Bones Bourchier, among others. So looking forward to that big event coming up a week from today.
Hey, Kirk, what'd you think about Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch throwing punches?
Well, that gave us something to talk about after the dominating performance by Joey Logano last week. Would we be talking about the All-Star event if not for Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch having their incident? What was that? That happened on lap 2, right?
Man, the way they set up that racetrack, I think it's a great racetrack, North Wilkesboro.
Have you seen a better repaid job than what they did at North Wilkesboro?
I don't think so, because they were able to run on the outside of each other.
Very surprising.
Yeah, very surprising.
Of course, last year it had the old pavement on it that Kyle Larson dominated that event.
Right. And
they repaved it, and that truck race was a good show that they had earlier in the day. So, no, I thought it was great racing, but Joey Logano stunk up the show, but there was some great action behind him. But we're talking about the fist fight between Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kyle Busch when it's over.
Hey, do you think that do you think Ricky kind of just cheap-shotted old Kyle Busch?
I don't know.
He didn't like what he heard from Kyle Busch. That's what happened.
I think
Kyle
had every opportunity to have his hands up to protect himself through that whole conversation. I think he just
had his hands down by his side.
I think here's what he thought: Ricky ain't going to do anything because he's Ricky, and he's been being Ricky to Ricky all the time.
But Ricky looked like he was.
Well,
he looked like he was getting ready to throw a punch.
If you knew what Ricky, like we talked about it, you can't leave that racetrack. Ricky talked about that immediately. He said, "Look, man, I was there for 5 hours.
Right,
no tunnel to get out.
There's no way to get out." He said, "I'd already been home."
He was stewing on it.
He said, "I'd already been," and he even said he'd already calmed down. He said, "But by the way that Kyle walked towards him, he said everything just bulled right back up." I mean, he was already wearing shorts, man. Flip-flops and shorts and T-shirt. So, I think it was kind of sad that he got fined $75,000. We don't see a lot of these guys getting fined. I think it's because of who he is and who he drives for. That's
NASCAR should have loved that.
You think it's because he drives for Childress?
Absolutely, and who he is and where he's at. Absolutely.
Hey, but listen, I think Kyle Busch is the perfect formula for Richard Childress Racing. Do you agree with that? Because he's used to racing with Dale Earnhardt Sr., and I think that he has this. I think that Kyle Busch has that kind of the aroma of Dale Earnhardt.
He
Jr.
did have it. I think what's happened though with Kyle, he's gotten older. Maybe if he would have gotten Kyle 10 years ago,
right?
The Kyle we got now, he's got a kid and stuff. He's not the same. He just seems more like grumpy old man to me instead of like feisty. So that's where I'm getting.
Isn't it ironic?
Get off my lawn, guy.
Isn't it ironic that it was out here to Kansas Speedway when RC and Kyle Busch got into it, and now they're together now.
Yep.
And RC is making statements out there that he's ready to rumble.
He's ready to fight.
He's wanting to get in the middle of it, isn't he?
He's ready to roll.
Right.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We will not be on Monday. We will not be here on Monday. It's a holiday. And go ahead, Kurt.
Well, I just wanted to say we are carrying the Indianapolis 500 here on Sports Radio 810.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, 11:30. So be sure you listen in for that. We'll see how Kyle Larson does.
Hopefully,
in his quest to go 1,100 miles tomorrow, but the weather could pose a big threat there.
Hopefully it doesn't rain, right? All right.
Ben Shelton next.
Thanks, everybody. Ben Shelton joins us next right here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior...
4 minutes and 30 seconds left, gentlemen.
What it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
This message is brought to you by the Kansas Department of Transportation. Wherever you plan to watch or listen to this week's game, if you're drinking, have a plan to arrive and return home safely. Sports Radio 810 is proud to partner with the Kansas Drive to Zero Coalition and invite you to join Fans with a Plan. It's this simple. Plan ahead and designate a sober driver, hop on Safe Ride, or use your favorite rideshare app. Together, Fans with a Plan could prevent serious injuries and fatalities caused by impaired drivers. Remember, in Kansas, you drink, you drive, you lose.
Hey Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing, back for another beautiful springtime in Kansas City. We are proud to announce our renewed partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Kansas City. Starting in 2024, a portion of every job sold will be donated to a cause close to my heart. I was a big, and I encourage you to volunteer. And if you hire us for service on your residential or commercial roof, you'll know that a portion of the profits will go to a great cause. So call us at 913-257-5426. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru. Well, we did it. Yes, we did. We've added even more incentives to buy from us. Lee Summit Subaru is now offering 0% financing for 72 months on the 2024 Subaru Outback. Yeah, we did that. And 0% on the 2024 Subaru Foresters for 72 months. Go to LeeSummitSubaru.com to see today's discounts. 0%. Free maintenance. Now that's why you'll fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
What's got everyone talking?
That would be Talk of the Town Neighborhood Bar and Grill on 135th and Null and 119th and Quivira.
What's got everyone talking?
Everyone's talking about our daily specials, the best burgers and wings in town, great selection of beer and spirits. Oh, it's the dozens of TVs showing your favorite game.
That's what's got everyone talking.
This is Giannis, and now we're talking at Talk of the Town Neighborhood Bar and Grill.
Are you ready to transform your outdoor space into a sanctuary of style and durability? Look no further than TimberTech composite decking, available at the Deck Supply. With TimberTech, you'll enjoy the beauty of wood without the hassle of constant maintenance. Say goodbye to staining, sanding, and splinters. Your deck can be the envy of the neighborhood and the perfect spot for family gatherings and weekend barbecues. Get started today and visit a local Deck Supply showroom or shop online.
2 minutes, gentlemen.
10-4.
Well, the temperatures are heating up, which means more backyard cookouts on your smoker and grill. The Kansas City Barbecue Store at I-35 and 119th Street in Olathe is your one-stop shop for all you need to get your food from the grill to the table. The barbecue store is stocked with seasoning, sauces, rubs, fuel accessories, and even fresh prime whole briskets. Stop in today to check out the new Gosney Pizza Ovens and ABS Smokers, all locally made. The Kansas City Barbecue Store is open 7 days a week at I-35 and 119th Street, right across the lot from Joe's KC in Olathe.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. May's hot start leaves me with bad news and good news. The bad news is we are not quite pacing where we need to be. The good news is Victory is offering deals not seen in years, like new Wrangler 4xEs up to $22,500 off, new Jeep Grand Cherokees up to $16,000 off, and new Ram Heavy Duties up to $15,000 off. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
You're ready for a perfect summer on the lawn. But wait, there are weeds, brown spots, and mosquitoes everywhere. It's time to call True Green. Get the best deal of the year and save over $200 when you bundle annual lawn care and mosquito plans. So all you have to do is water and mow. Hurry, offer ends May 28th. Visit TrueGreen.com for the best lawn at the best price. Guaranteed. Restrictions apply.
Visit Hollywood Casino Kansas Speedway this spring for all the playoff hoops, hockey action, and the return of baseball. The biggest screens, the best food and drink, plus they're giving away Penn Cash bonuses and prizes to Penn Play Rewards members. Not a member? Join today by downloading and registering for the Penn Play app from the App Store. Unlock all the fun, including a chance to win up to $2,000 in Penn Cash. All this and more. Make Hollywood Casino Kansas Speedway your spring sports viewing headquarters.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Todd Surprise running the show for us here at RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. My partner, Kirk Elliott. And joining us now is Ben Shelton. Ben, is there anybody going to be able to outrun Ricky Thornton Jr.?
Go ahead and try to take the green flag right now if you're going to. He's on a different level right now. But, hey, man, it's why we play the game, right? 100 laps is a long time. Lap traffic, mechanical issues, a lot of things can happen. But,
right,
man, that team's just got the car rolling, and his confidence is really high. So I don't even know if Vegas will let you bet against him right now.
Garrett Albertson, he's been pretty strong this weekend as well, hadn't he?
Well, he's been really good. It's probably the heartbreaker. I made the joke the other night that somebody was on the fence if they like Ricky Thornton Jr. or not. Probably Thursday night they don't like him now because the sentimental favorite, you wanted Garrett Albertson to get his first series win, and he led the whole way. They had a caution with a few ago, and Thornton got around him and took that first win away from him. But, Garrett's been really good. He's going to start on the front row alongside Thornton, and 100 laps, it would be quite the Cinderella story if he could get the win.
Devin Moran, it looks like Devin Moran might have enough speed to outrun Ricky Thornton Jr. Would you agree with that?
I would, but, I interviewed Devin there on our broadcast last night after the race. He ran second, a night after running third, and I said, you guys are creeping up the podium. I said, what do you got to do to beat Ricky Thornton Jr.? And he goes, I don't think any of us know that right now. So, Devin made the comment. He goes, we have a top 5 car, but I don't know that any of us have a way to be right now. So maybe he's playing coy, but on the flip side, I respect his honesty.
Hey, Ben, this Kirk, let's talk about what they've done to the racetrack. They brought in some new clay. We've known that here for several weeks now.
It's excellent.
But they have really done a great job of working that new clay into this racetrack. Your thoughts?
It's fantastic. They took off 8 inches of the old surface. And I think that's key. You see a lot of guys bring in a little bit of new soil, and they just mix it in with the existing, and I think they acknowledged what they had there was not the best. And it wasn't awful, but it could be. So they, instead of mixing, a little bit of new soil in, they just removed it, and they brought in a new surface. And not only is the surface great, but the staff has done a phenomenal job. And looks like Mother Nature. It's going to rock and roll late tonight, but it's going to be after midday. They're going to be able to work on the track, have it the way they want, and I think it could really be one of the best Show Me 100s we've had, just because this surface has just been fantastic the first 2 nights. And keep in mind, yesterday they couldn't do a whole lot to it until about 6 yesterday, because we were supposed to get a downpour, and somehow, some way, it got to the track and split it. So they had to go out the last minute and work, and then they worked it before the features last night. But no, major hat tip to the whole crew here.
Do you think the racetrack is better than it's ever been for the late models? Do you believe that?
I do, because this is the reason why. In the past, some of the times this place would get really slick, and it would just get bottom dominant or, right through the middle dominant.
Take a little rubber.
To get it racy. To get it racy, you had to chop it up a bit, and that made the racers mad. They'd have to really get it rough. What we've seen the past 2 nights is as smooth a racetrack as you could ever hope to have, and they're racing all over it. So, yes, I would say it's the best I've ever personally seen here.
The two brothers, Chris Simpson and Chad Simpson, they've been running pretty well themselves, haven't they?
They have. He's had a big run of this event before and finished second. And, Chad's had some success in it, not as much as Chris probably, but Chad the other night looked like he might be on the way to having a chance to get in his second career win with the series, and just got crossed up there late in lap traffic and dialed it out. And, last night raced into the feature and picked up some spots. And then Chris has been working in the top 10. He led some laps back on Thursday night, and they've looked good. Thinking about them last night, I think between the two, probably looked the best so far. I think they're capable of top 5s, but I think they'd definitely be long shots to have a chance to pick up their first Show Me title of either one of them.
I see JD. He ran 9th last night. He started 24th, and he ended up running 9th. Was he the hard charger for the night?
That was Thursday, right?
Oh, was that Thursday?
So that was actually Thursday. Yeah, that was Thursday. He won his heat race. He was going to be starting third row of the feature, and they had some electrical issues. Had to go to another car, so he started on the back, and he rallied for that. I want to say, believe it or not, that Max Blair actually, I think it might have been a hard charger back on Thursday. He went 23rd to 7th. He had a really good run. Then last night he missed the podium by about 2 inches over Jonathan Davenport, who's third. JD's another guy that's hard to count out here. The guy's won 7 races here the past couple of years, including obviously the SRX race last year, and then he won both Spring Nationals races back earlier this year. He admittedly, they're just a tick off from where they need to be. And you take Thornton out of this field, and it's really, there's probably 3 or 4 guys that got a chance to win tonight. But Thornton's he's just on a different level.
The number 111 car, Max Blair, is he maybe the most underrated driver out there? Would you consider that?
And on a given night, Scott, last night, the night before, he rallied. But, that team, that new Centerline Motorsports team he's with this year, he left Boone Briggs after last year, they're still trying to find consistency. They'll go from, being a podium car one night to the next night, they're watching the feature. He is a talent, and he's still he'd never seen this place before last year. He's still learning a lot of these places. I would say he's probably an underrated driver. I don't know if he's the most underrated. There's definitely some under-the-radar guys, but I think all those under-the-radar guys all fall in that same boat of Max. Is the consistency probably is what keeps them underrated, and people not realizing just how good they are. There's several of them out there that on any given night could maybe win or could maybe be 7th in a B main.
Yeah, Gordy Gundecker, he started 22nd last night. He ended up running 11th or 10th. He's doing a good job as well, isn't he?
He's doing great. Really, he and her brother Trevor, both Gundakers are actually locked into the feature. Gordy's going to start, I believe, 10th tonight, and Trevor got the much coveted 18th and final lock-in. He's the final guy that doesn't have to run a B main race tonight. They both have had a fantastic weekend, and Gordy dropped off Outlaws after last year, and he just made the comment. He goes, "Man, I got to regroup and get ready." He goes, some guys are okay running 15th every night. I'm not. And less is more for that team right now. He's off to a fast start to the year. I believe he's third in the MLRA standings, and he's had a good car. And both those drivers have run the best I've ever seen them run here at Wheatland, the past 2 nights.
Yeah, can you explain what happened to Mike Marlar on Thursday night? He pulled off the racetrack. I didn't see what happened to his car. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it really sort of features. So we have the National 8 model tires. There's 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, but the ones really aren't getting used anymore. And anyway, the tire rule for Thursday and Friday, you can run the NLMT2 on the front left rear, and then on the right rear you have the option, I believe, of the 3-4, I think. And at any rate, Mike, as I understand it, he came to staging and had a 3 on one of the tires where you can only have a 2. So they made him change tires. So he went to the back, and then he just wasn't making up much ground first half of the race, and just called it a night. With the way the points work on locking cars into the finale, he just wasn't going to put laps on the car if he wasn't making up and didn't have what he needed. So I don't think it was anything more than just tough start to the feature and decided to regroup and try for Friday.
Ben, I think you're the best person to ask about this. The history of the Show Me 100. I consider you the big voice of this event back when it was at West Plains Motor Speedway. Don and Billy Gibson, they were there looking great last night. As you go back over the many years that you've been around this event, West Plains and Lucas Oil Speedway, can you conjure up a couple of notable memories that maybe a lot of people don't know about that kind of sticks out in your mind of the Show Me 100?
Ooh, man, that's Pandora's box for me. There's so many. For me, and this is maybe selfishly, I go back to '93 to the first one, and that was the first big late model race I'd ever been to. And we'd just done some regional stuff for us and our family. We rolled our change, and we went to the Show Me, and then we went to Branson, right? And I remember getting out of the car, and I'd never seen him race, and the first thing I heard, I think Mooney Star was announcing that first year, and we get out of the car in the parking lot Friday evening, we get there, and I hear him go, "Your next qualifier out of Mooresburg, Tennessee, Scott Bloomquist." Dude, it gave me chills because I'd never seen Scott Bloomquist race. And so, I know for me and a lot of people from this region, in '93, we'd seen Moyer, we'd seen Wendell Wallace, we'd seen Wayne Brooks, Tony Carden, those guys. Terry Phillips, we had never seen these other guys. So that was a big deal. That set the tone. That set the tone for 32 years later, what we're doing this weekend, albeit, in a few hours up the road. I would definitely go back to the year that there was a year, man, it escapes me. It was one of the early years. It may have been 95, or it was the first time that Bloomquist won. It might have been 95. And all night there have been storms around the track and everything else. And anyway, as they're getting close to the feature to come out, they come over, they got the radio playing over the PA of the track, and they're like, "A severe thunderstorm warning." And I asked my uncle, I was like, "I wonder what county we're in." And they named like two, and then they're like, "Howell County," and the place just goes nuts. "Let's go!" And my uncle goes, "Son, I think we're in Howell County." So anyway, it starts sprinkling. The wind's blowing probably 60 miles an hour. A lot of people left, us included, because we wanted to get back to the campground that we were the team. And we got down to a stream of traffic. They're like, "We'll run the race tomorrow at 1, if it rains out." And get up the next day, and people next to us are like, "Man, they ran that race last night. Bloomquist won from 23rd." And I was like, "Well, son of a gun." So, yeah, that's a memory. We weren't not enough, but there was a lot of people like us that thought, there's about to be a tornado at this place. Just so many memories like that. Just watching so many guys themselves. Ray Cook really stormed onto the scene, winning there. And probably I'll say this, and this is the tribute I have to Don and Billy Gibson, but especially Don for the track surface. There was one year on Friday qualifying. It rained. Guys, it started raining at like 6 o'clock that night, and it stopped the next day at 3. I think it dropped like 6 inches of rain. Most tracks would have been done for a month. They didn't get to race Saturday night, but they announced we're going to run the whole show on Sunday. They ran qualifying, all these streaming and features. 3 of the heats were one from 5th or further back, and I think the feature winner came from, the or whatever. And how many tracks could have 100 cars run a show through in one night, maybe touch it once and have a show like that? And that was a testament to what Don Gibson had at West Plains. So, yeah, so many memories, and I'm just so grateful from both a fan to now an employee and all that part of it. And we can't understate enough what Don and Billy Gibson have meant to the sport and so many people, and I'm definitely on that list.
Ben, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us here on Track Talk, and we can't thank you enough for doing so, and appreciate you taking the time to join us here on an early Saturday morning. We can't thank you enough for doing so, bud.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having us as always. Really appreciate listening to my same old PSA. If you're listening to this, I don't care if it's $100,000 to win or $1 to win. Get out to your local track, support them, take your family out there. You won't regret it.
Yep. Thank you, Ben. We appreciate you.
Yeah, great having you.
Yes, sir. You guys eat Memorial Day. Thank you.
All right. You have a good one, too. All right. So, Kirk?
Casey Schumann coming up next.
Casey Schumann coming up next. We're
June
going to
7th and 8th will be a big weekend at I-70 Speedway.
the Race Rudine Foundation, and that's going to be a big race out at I-70 Speedway coming up. We're going to talk to Casey Schumann next right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's Track Talk, and it's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. Get her done!
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
And that got about 4 minutes left, gentlemen.
10-4.
Have to live with them. From sprained ankles to broken arms, get quick expert care at the University of Kansas Health System. Walk-in orthopedic care is available at I-435 in Noll and Overland Park. Anyone ages 5 and older can see an orthopedic specialist without an appointment. Weekdays from 8A to 7P and Saturdays 8 to 2. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a student athlete, get care so you can perform your best. Learn more about orthopedic walk-in care at kansashealthsystem.com/orthopedics.
Don't miss a minute of the action on the diamond with ESPN Bet. The exclusive sports book of ESPN is the only place to find offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities, including daily odds boosts and home run specials all season long. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play.
Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway.
Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Icon is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 65 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Women must be of non-childbearing potential. Volunteers must be available for one stay of 5 nights and one follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $4,200 for time and travel. Call Icon today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
Hey, it's Nate Bucati here, and I am back to talk about Green Grass Cattle Company in Weston, Missouri. Spring is here, and summer's right around the corner. What a perfect time to stock up on everything that you need for this coming grilling season. Greengrass Cattle Company can always help you make any occasion a special occasion with the highest quality meats in Kansas City. Briskets, ribeyes, KC strips, picana, tri-tips, brats, you name it, they got it. And don't forget that they deliver locally and nationwide. Greengrass Cattle Company is very excited to announce the launch of their VIP Beef Club, themed after their very popular beef bundles that you can now receive on a monthly basis for all your grilling needs during barbecue season. They have 3 boxes to choose from, versatile scheduling, and a bonus surprise included in every box. So make sure you give them a call, shop at their retail store in Weston, Missouri, or order online at greengrasscattleco.com. That's greengrasscattleco.com.
Mortgage rates have
2 minutes.
Golden Oak has 5.375% fixed rates available right now. Our average cash-out customer saves over $1,000 a month. Call today and take advantage of our 5.375 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, showing my blues.
5.934 APR. FHA 15-year 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important.
90 seconds.
Sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Heartland Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call
447-6600, or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and now North Kansas City.
Host the perfect Memorial Day cookout this weekend with great specials. Where else? The Butcher Block at your neighborhood hen house. KC strips, sure, we're talking USDA choice, certified Hereford beef, the finest beef around. 10 ounces, just $10 each. 80% lean ground beef, ground fresh several times each day, and perfect for burgers, just $3.49 a pound. Baby back pork ribs, they're sold in cryovac, just $2.99 a pound. And of course, finish it all off with a 20-ounce Heartland pumpkin pie for just $3.49. Hen House, serving Kansas City families for 100 years.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Joining us now is Casey Schumann, the general manager out there at I-70 Speedway. Casey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, guys.
Hey, man, you got a big race coming up out there at the Race Routine Foundation. That's a big race for the High Limit Series, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great opportunity for us at I-70 Speedway to host the Race Routine Foundation race. It's been going. I think this will be the 6th year. Just a really cool deal, really cool event that's been moving around a little bit, and so it'll be great to have them back, and obviously it'll be awesome to have the High Limit Series there. I know the fans and the people in the area have been really wanting to get some bigger sprint car races back, and they're definitely getting that this year between what we have for a couple dates and what Lakeside's had and some other places. So it's really exciting for all involved.
Hey, Casey, let me give you a compliment. I'm telling you, that racetrack has been better than I've ever seen that racetrack since it's been dirt. You've widened that racetrack out. You've got a formula, don't you? You've got some kind of formula to where you make that track a little wider.
Yeah, we're definitely getting it figured out. I mean, last year, the first couple races, it was so wet, so much rain, and then I feel like once we got to June, especially the All-Star race in July last year, I think we kind of hit on something of just kind of a formula, like you said, and just a regular routine that we have leading the week of the races, and it's definitely gotten much better. I mean, we get it to where it's getting wide, it's getting slicked up and slowed down a little bit, but definitely getting to where it's better racing. So yeah, it's something we've really worked hard on, and I think we're in a good spot with it.
I was out there for the non-wing race, and let me tell you, the guys were ripping the top. Jack Wagner, I think he was ripping the top maybe better than anybody else out there that night. What'd you think?
Yeah, that was an awesome race. I mean, the racetrack, like we just said, it got wide, it got a little slick, but it got racy. Xavier Doney, Samuel Wagner, Wesley Smith, all put on an amazing show. They scared the crap out of me every corner, but yeah, they did a great job. It was a great way to open the season. Like I said, I'm hoping we see some more of that here in June when the High Limit guys come to town.
Hey, Casey, are you taking a page from what Port Royal Speedway has done? They've got a great prepared racetrack, hard pack, slick it off, big, fast racetrack like I-70 Speedway. Did you take a page from what Port Royal is doing?
Definitely trying to kind of mimic, that type of surface. Yeah, I mean, I know we don't have the same dirt as they do, and that stuff is so hard to match. But I mean, kind of what we were trying to do is, yes, get it to where it's harder, it's slicker, it's wider. The place is fast no matter what. So if we slowed it down a little and got it to where the racing was a little better, definitely what we were trying to do. Sometimes it's just really hard because you can get to the other side of it real quick where it starts to take rubber. So luckily we haven't got to that point. But yeah, we're trying to, Port Royal puts on some amazing races, every weekend. So it's definitely one that we would like to compare ourselves to.
Have you ever raced out at Port Royal?
I have. I ran a non-wing car there, I think 2014 and 15. I ran a couple years when the USAC deal went back there. They've definitely made it 10 times better, now than when I was there. But they do a great job. Steve and those guys there, whether it's just the promoting side of things, the racetrack side of things, they do a great job. So to be compared or in that talk is very cool.
Yeah. Listen, I think that you're doing a great job out there at I-70 Speedway. I think a lot of people are happy to see you run that racetrack. And I like what you did. You brought back the old I-70 Speedway. And I really enjoy that because, me personally, I raced out there for a long, long time back when it was pavement back in the day. But I love it that you brought back the I-70 Speedway thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's so much history there. You guys know more than I would, but, there's a ton of history there. It seems like every event I have some people come up to me and talk about they either raced there back in the day or their family did or they worked in the concession stand or, there's just always so many memories that go on, at every event. And, I know it's not the exact same racetrack, but it's the same location, and we're trying to do a lot of the same things. So I thought it was only right to try and bring that back and bring the logo back and kind of try and bring back some of that history.
Casey, big money on the line for June 7th and 8th. You're paying $10,000 to win on Friday night, $26,000 to win on Saturday night. Just this is going to be one of the bigger paying events of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be our biggest event of the year, but the biggest event that we've had since I've been around. And it's been a struggle to try and get some of these bigger series to come back. I mean, I know a lot of them. I might have got, a bad taste in their mouth or something might have happened to where they weren't real interested. So this is a big opportunity for us to get a major series back with a lot of really big racers and like I said, to host the Racer Dean Foundation event. And work with Kevin Rudeen and his foundation. I mean, it's a great honor, but it's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of work. And I know we got a lot of people behind us that are willing to work their butts off to make it go. So exciting to have some of these big names come and race at our place.
Now you can handle a big crowd, and camping is available at I-70 Speedway too. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a ton of calls about camping. We don't have our full hookups, and all that stuff set up quite yet, but tons of free camping, free dry camping. Everyone can show up Thursday night if they want and come get set up and everything. And hopefully we can try and create an event and an atmosphere like some of these other big races that we've had. So free camping, everyone bring the campers out, RVs and stuff like that, and come hang out with us and enjoy a couple of good days of racing.
People want to buy tickets. How do they do it?
All the tickets are available at highlimitracing.com. We've got some reserved. We got general admission. We got the El Bandito rooftop bar. Suite. I think we have one suite still available. So a lot of options there as far as ticketing and what you might want. And that's at highlimitracing.com.
Hey, I look at your schedule, and you said you've got a local motocross race that's going to be going on out there. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we did that last year, our Harvest Fest event at the end of the year. It was started out as to be like kind of a community type event with just food vendors and merchandise vendors and bounce houses and face painting and all that kind of stuff for kids. And then we ended up building a motocross track in the infield and bringing a bunch of local motocross groups and stuff, and it seemed to go over really well. So I mean, it's a little bit of a combination of two different things, but seemed to go really well, and a lot of people were excited and really appreciative of what we were doing and excited to do it again. So that'll be, I think, October 12th and 13th, and we're looking forward to that. It's definitely shifting gears and doing a little bit different stuff than we do all year long, but it brings a different crowd and some different people out as well, so that's good.
Casey, anything that you need from the Racing Boys, you just let us know, and we'll take care of you on it, bud. Just so you know, we love I-70 Speedway, and to be honest with you, it's one of my favorite racetracks, to be honest with you. I raced out there for many, many years, and it's just one of my favorite racetracks.
Well, I appreciate it. You guys have always been good to us, and I appreciate you guys having me on, and like I said, anyone that's listening wants to come out and see, some of the top names in sprint car racing at the High Limit Show at the Roudine race, come on out June 7th and 8th.
All right. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
You have a good weekend.
All right.
Yeah, that's going to be a big weekend out here.
So, Kirk, we're not going to be on Monday, right?
Now, Mostly Motorsports, we're taking the day off. I'm going to be up in Iowa and
2 minutes, gentlemen.
Checking out a couple of events up there. So that's where I'm headed this weekend. How about you?
I'm going to just stick around the house.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to mow some grass. That's what I'm going to do.
The grass needs mowed.
The grass needs mowed.
That always happens that way, doesn't it?
It does.
I got mine mowed 2 days ago, so I'm in good shape for this weekend.
Oh yeah,
I got it all taken care of. But I definitely, like you said, we want to say Happy Memorial Day out there to everybody who fought hard for us in this country, and
right, no
definitely,
doubt.
like you said, we will be off on Monday, and return in June 3rd with episode number 314, guys. So
314 episodes we've done.
That's what we'll be
it's
at.
Crazy, isn't it?
Following in June, first week of June. So we'll be back ready to roll.
All right, Kyle Larson starts in the middle of the second row. How well's he do tomorrow?
I give him
what do you
a
think?
top 10 finish and everything. I think he finishes 7th to 10th. That's where I think he finishes. We all know Penske's tough team.
As long as he doesn't crash out, he'll get a good finish.
Penske is the cars to beat.
They're the cars to beat. Anything can happen. It's the Indy 500.
It was I watched Carb Day yesterday on the Peacock Network, and the Penske cars didn't do all that well. Yeah, I don't think you can take anything away from that practice session yesterday.
They were shaking
the Penske cars they were down at the bottom of the chart for speed. Scott Dixon had the fast speed. I got to tell you, they're a cut above everybody else right now, sweeping the front row. I think one of the Penske cars.
Do you think Kyle Larson runs in the top 10?
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I
got
do
a
too.
chance, maybe even a top 5,
and
he finishes and doesn't get caught up in
and you can listen to it on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It starts at 11:30, right, Kurt?
I think if you have to have a favorite, Joseph Newgarden would be it. They won the pit stop challenge yesterday. Newgarden won this race a year ago. Starts on the front row. I'm going to say we're going to have our first back-to-back winner since Elio did it back.
There you go.
Hour number 2, Garrett Williamson, Connor Wade, Chase Rodman is going to join us here on Track Talk. You can watch it all on Facebook or YouTube. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in to Track Talk today here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all been brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll see you on Monday. No, not Monday. The following Monday.
And next Saturday, too. We'll be here.
Right. We'll be here next Saturday.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products.
Always. I'll be here next week, too.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Back or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply is an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply is an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Sure, especially sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Signs attract half of all new customers. A vehicle wrap can get 30,000 views per day. On-site signage costs roughly 2 cents per view. At Impact Signs, Awnings, Wraps, we know signs work. Custom signs, interior or exterior, for any application. Commercial awnings, any shape, any size. Full-color video displays, time and temp boards, gas price changers, and scoreboards. We can wrap anything, vehicles, trailers, boats, and more. Check us out at impact4800.com.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum, and our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guide. You are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas. Get her done.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio, RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm so used to saying Sports Radio 810 WHB. We've been on there for 24 years, Kirk.
But we're just on the first of the 2 hours.
Can you believe that we've been on the radio for 24 years? Me and you together?
Yeah, the first weekend in June, you and I did our first show in 2000.
How about that? I told
But you were on before that. You were on
with
Radio 810
with Tom Wilson.
before, yeah.
Yeah.
So you go back to what, 98 on 810 and
98. Yeah, that was my first year.
You were
on
there
1510.
Of 1510, but you were around when 810 first went on the air with Sports Radio.
Just so you know, back in the day, I don't know if I should say this or not, but
go ahead, say it.
Tom was ruffling a few feathers back there at Sports Radio 810, and they didn't want to work with him anymore because.
And that's how I got into the picture.
So I went to you, Kirk.
You did.
And I asked you to be my partner
at Lakeside Speedway.
At Lakeside Speedway.
Yeah.
And it took you about 6 months for you to come
I
around,
just, I'd watched you race, and, you were the guy that wore the black hat and was, I thought, I don't know if I want to get mixed up with this guy.
Why is that?
I didn't know you at the time. I just seen you race.
Right.
And you weren't afraid to ruffle some feathers out there on the racetrack. You weren't. You admit it.
Hey, listen.
Admit it.
I wasn't afraid to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I said, I don't know. I don't know whether I want to get mixed up with you or not.
What was that all about? Hey,
but I listened to you. I listened to you do the show solo.
Right.
Through the fall of and into the winter of 99, 2000. And I said, you know what? He's pretty good. He does a good job. And he's talking about all kinds of racing. I said
local racing.
Yeah.
But at the time, you were doing a NASCAR show.
Yeah, I was working with Steve Parker and Sam Atwell and Mark Morrell, who I'm sure he's listening in. Mark, we're thinking about you. And we were doing a NASCAR show.
Yeah.
And it was at the time where Lakeside Speedway
was converting
went from
to
pavement
dirt.
to dirt.
Right.
And it was a huge event at Lakeside, the first event on dirt at Lakeside.
And they wouldn't let you talk about it.
I lined up Mark Olson to be a guest on the show.
And they
on
said
the first
no.
weekend. They said, we've taken some other. We're gonna talk NASCAR, so we can't do it. And I'm thinking, I think I'll give Scott Traylor a call, see if he's still got that spot open.
Hey, listen, at the time, Lakeside Speedway was a NASCAR Weekly Racing Series track, wasn't it?
I think so.
It was,
yeah. So I give you a call, and you said, sure, when do you want to start? How about June 1st? Because I wanted to see my nephew run in the state track meet, which would be this weekend 24 years ago.
Right.
And I want to go see that in Des Moines. How about the week after that?
Right.
And you said, sure, let's shoot for the first Saturday in June 2000. So here we are.
Here we are, 24 years later. Can't believe it.
Yeah. Who would have thought it?
Who would have thought that Kirk Elliott would have put up with me for 24 years?
It's been quite a ride, man.
Yeah, it has.
It's been quite. We've had a lot of things happen along the way, haven't we? We got involved with the Chili Bowl, which was a great experience, and live video and all of those things that I never envisioned when we first got together.
But listen, I visioned that, didn't I?
Yeah,
Kirk,
you did.
I did.
And you had the vision of doing live internet shows from the studio before people really even thought about doing stuff like that.
Back in the day, we had cheap cameras, didn't we? back in the day.
They were kind of fuzzy, weren't they?
Security cameras.
They weren't sharp.
They weren't very sharp.
But it's been a great run, and we're going to do this a while longer. Why? Because we love racing so much.
Right.
So,
I think we only got Todd one more year. I think Todd's going to only hang out with us one more year.
I thought we were all going to be calling.
We might. Still.
We called Kirk out of retirement. You remember?
Yeah.
But he was ready to move back to Iowa. He was already buying furniture for his house up there, and then things happened. And
I've still sort of done that, but I've got the best of both worlds now.
But listen, I don't know if people know this, but Kirk Elliott has a house up in Mount Ayr, Iowa, that was your parents' house, right?
Exactly, the house I grew up in. Spent the first 16 years of my life in. Going to go up there here the next few days and hang out there. So,
yeah. So, do you love hanging out up there at the house?
Yep.
Up there at the Mount Ayr?
Yeah.
You get to see your family, don't you?
And you get to spend time out in the country. From the city to the country. I like that.
Yeah, Kirk. People don't realize Kirk's. I mean, I live he's an Independence guy, so he's in the middle of the city, right? He's in a concrete jungle over there.
He is in the middle of a concrete jungle.
So, I'm out mowing 2.5 acres once a week in my yard, so I don't feel like
you're
I'm
sort of out in the country, but you're not.
Yeah, I got cows. I can hear cows from my front yard, so that if I can hear cows mooing and geese yapping and coyotes, I consider myself in the country still, because I still have. There's still a whole bunch of cows just less than 100 yards from my house.
You know what I want to do eventually, someday? I want to build a barn dominium.
How about that? That's the new thing.
That's the new thing. Build an apartment inside of a garage and have a really nice studio to where we can pull cars into the studio.
And the name of that is what?
Barn dominium. It's like a car.
It's like a.
I've never heard that.
It's like a
condominium.
It's like a barn with an apartment inside.
It's like
a
condominium and a barn.
That?
Yeah.
Remember, that's what I tried to sell my dad's. I tried to right here on this show. I tried to sell that. My dad had a giant metal structure, concrete base, air conditioned, heated, 2-car garage on one side, 2 double door garage on the other side. That's what the guy was going to do. He was going to build him an apartment in one side and then pull his boat and RV in on the other and have his car in on it, and he'll have it all in one spot and have it.
I think we could have a nicer studio to where we could pull some cars in as well.
Boy, Scott's always on the vision trail, man.
Always thinking.
He's always thinking ahead
about something.
So you want to hear from a couple of interviews from earlier this week?
You got
Garrett Williamson coming up here in a little bit.
You got Logan Seaby.
Yeah, let's go with Logan Seaby first, because today he's about as busy a driver as anyone in the country. This morning he's at IRP racing a midget and a Silver Crown car. USAC, the Hoosier 100, got rained out last night. They're racing as we speak at IRP. And then this afternoon, Logan Seaby heads on up to Anderson for the Little 500. 500 laps at Anderson, plus all this racing going on at IRP this morning. Well, the other night was out at Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex, where Logan Seaby won the midget race. This was before he won the Holman Classic on Tuesday night. And I also watched Logan Seaby at Belleville over the weekend as well. And here's a conversation I had with Logan Seaby after his midget win on Sunday night out in Sweet Springs. Boy, after a tough fight at Belleville over the weekend, getting a win here makes you feel good heading back.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, Belleville was tough, and we just went to work and got our car a little bit better. Last year we struggled at Belleville too, so I don't want to say it wasn't a surprise, but we thought we'd be a little bit better than we were. But still, we didn't lose confidence. Felt good about coming here with our race car and being fine. So obviously it showed there tonight.
How tricky was that racetrack? You did move your way up into contention there, but it was kind of hard to pass here, wasn't it?
Yeah, very hard. It was so rough on entry on the top that you kind of had to cheat it, and that kind of didn't really give the guys behind you much of an option. So you just had to pick your battles and race people at the right time and be patient at the right time. And probably a little too patient early, and lost a few. But once I kind of was able to get up top and get my momentum going, I was able to get by them guys right back away, and then capitalized on a few mistakes on the guys in front of me, and pulled one off.
We found out how important qualifying is at Belleville. What happened on Friday night? You only got one lap there.
Yeah, that's right. I only got one lap. I ran a good lap on lap 2, and the transponders didn't catch it, and it just wasn't relayed to me to go take another lap. I went across the scales, and officials cleared me to go back to my trailer. No one told me to get another lap, and it kind of killed our night. There's nothing you could do at that point. Like I said, I did run a decent lap. It wasn't like a quick time lap or anything, but it was certainly around the top 10, and then that gets you in contention. But when you get scored 23rd, you get scored 23rd, and you got to start last in your heat and last in the feature, you're pretty much killed. So it was tough to swallow that. A mistake on the series end caused us our night, and I feel like I did everything I can to try to get them to realize that there was a mistake, and they were adamant at the time there wasn't, and then yesterday they admitted they did make a mistake, but at that point my night was ruined. So it didn't really do me any favors, didn't do me any good, and I lost a whole heck of a lot of points and personally money. So like I said, it's tough to swallow a mistake like that when it's not on my end. I'm pretty good and pretty easy to admit my mistakes when I make mistakes, and that one was tough. And then Saturday I went there and I screwed up in qualifying and qualified not very good anyway, so I didn't really make up for it either the next day. But like I said, it was kind of a tough pill to swallow. The series admitted they made a mistake, and but like I said, at that point the whole night was ruined, and all the heat race lineups were wrong and the feature lineup was wrong, and but yeah, they just kept moving forward and wouldn't really listen to me in the moment until it was too late. And like I said, there was nothing I could do. So that one was, like I keep saying, it's still hard to believe that happened. And but I don't know. Like I said, come back, keep winning races, put these guys behind us, and come out on top anyway. I think we beat them by 200 and some odd points last year, so that's my plan, just to keep winning these races and beating all these guys all year, and that mistake in the first part of the season won't really make a difference. So last year I think I ran like 6th and 16th at Belleville, so we're already off to a little bit better start.
You got a busy week ahead, just racing about every night. The Holman Classic on Tuesday night, Circle City. Man, it gets really busy right now. Just what's your mindset going into Tuesday night at Terre Haute?
Like you said, busy day, busy whole week. Tuesday with Terre Haute, Wednesday I've got Anderson in the morning and Circle City, and then same Thursday, Anderson in the morning, Circle City. Friday, and then got Anderson again in the morning and a long Silver Crown race. So it's just a long week. It'll wear you out quick, and then you go 500 laps at the little 500 Anderson on Saturday. So it's the toughest week of the year physically for me by far. Come Saturday night, I'm already wore out, and then I got to go 500 at Anderson. So excited about it. I've got good race cars for everything. I feel like I learned a lot last year at Anderson, and I feel like I have a car that's capable of winning. I just got to keep learning and do my job well throughout the race, and capitalize on our pit stops, and just do a good job all week. So no different than any other race. You got to show up to the races and time in well, and then go race these guys and beat them every night. So I'm excited. Like I said, our sprint car's been on kill every time I get in it, and I haven't ran that pavement sprint car since last year at Anderson, but excited about that. Our Silver Crown car, we've been struggling a little bit on the pavement, but I think we found a few issues that we're excited to change and get to IRP and go around there and see how it goes. So, busy week here for Indiana racing, but always looking forward to it.
How do you get prepared for 500 laps around Anderson?
You really don't until you go do it. Last year I went and finally did it, and I feel like that's really what prepares me a little bit more than anything. I think overall it went quicker than I expected, and it was physically easier than I expected. The pace is not quite the same as practice and qualifying and stuff, so the pace slows down a little bit, and you log laps really quick. So like I said, I went way quicker than I was ever expecting, and not as physically tough and demanding as I thought. I filled up a water bottle and expected for it to be gone by lap 100 or 200, and I think the thing was like 3/4 full at the end. So, like I said, just slightly easier than I expected, but doesn't mean the competition's easier. Just the physical aspect of driving is slightly easier, and that race is really just about executing and making good moves in traffic, and then nailing your pit stops and not getting in trouble. So it's not really a race of all-out speed. It's just a race of execution, and And that's why the guys that do it a lot are really good. But then you see a guy like Jake Trainer last year win, I think maybe in his first try or second try. So guys that are good get it done. But yeah, it's just a race. You kind of have to get a feel for it and go from there.
That Tony Holman Classic, that would be a big race to win for you.
Yeah, I'd love to win that one. I've had some success there at Terre Haute in the past, and I love that place. I love that track. I feel better than I ever have going into Terre Haute with my current sprint car operation, and big tracks suit me well. You know, won a couple of nights at Volusia on a half mile, and just barely lost a dogfight at Eldora on a half mile. So 3 half miles, and you know, ran first, and second. So excited to get to Terre Haute. I know our car's going to be right there, capable of winning. I just got to do a good job, run hard, and put a whole night together.
Congratulations on the win tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And he did just that. He went to Terre Haute and got that rifle trophy.
And he also won at Circle City Speed Raceway.
Night 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right now he's running 8th in the midgets at IRP as we speak, behind Jake Trainer, who's leading the midget feature right now. They'll have the Hoosier 100 Silver Crown race coming up a little bit. Logan Seavey will be a part of that before he heads up to Anderson. You can watch all the events at IRP on Flow Racing, and the Anderson Little 500 will be on Dirt Vision, is carrying that event. So you can see all that today. NASCAR Xfinity race at Charlotte this afternoon. They'll qualify for the Coke 600 later on in the day, so that's all the activity that's going on around the country with the High Limit Racing Series at Port Royal Raceway tonight. World of Outlaws Night 2 at Atomic Speedway, and of course, as we talked about in Hour 1, the Show Me 100 going on tonight down at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Garrett Williamson picked up a big win, didn't he, up there at Knoxville?
How about that?
Yeah.
Held off Aaron Reitzel to the checkered flag. He's going to be back up there tonight up at Knoxville, see if he can do it again. Garrett Williamson was on our Mostly Motorsports show on Monday to talk about his big victory. First time in a 410 at Knox. He'd won in the 360s at Knoxville,
yep.
But first time in the 410. Here's a little bit of our conversation with Garrett Williamson, Monday, Mostly Motorsports.
I'm telling you, I was so thrilled for you to pick up that win up there at Knoxville the other night. I was so impressed with the way that you went about that win.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. That was a big win for me and our team, definitely.
Yep. So, did you feel a little bit of pressure right there at the end of that race?
Yeah, going through 1 and 2, we had a car there, and obviously you can hear them, but I heard someone else. I obviously figured we had to have someone charged. I got hung up behind him for a minute, and obviously I knew someone was coming, so I had to get 1 and 2 nice and just kind of slide myself through 3 and 4 would be my best bet. Knowing that I've been running the bottom, the only place someone could have probably gained is through the middle, and it was still good. So if I could get off the bottom and through the middle nicely and not hang, that we should be able to protect most of the racetrack.
Hey, I just noticed on your check that they spelled your name wrong.
Did they really? I haven't even noticed that.
They did?
Yeah, they did.
No, I think it's spelled right.
I don't think they put 2 R's in there.
They didn't put the second R.
It's 1 R, 1 T, so.
Oh,
yeah.
It is 1 R, 1 T, so it is correct.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I knew it was 1 T at the end.
Yep.
Well, they did their due diligence. Then they got.
They did it right.
Right. They did it right. I'm sorry. I called them out there at Knoxville.
And you stand corrected.
As long as they got the 6,000 part. As long as they got the 6,000 part, right?
I don't care how they spell it.
There you go.
Right.
More money at Knoxville, $6,000. You like that, don't you?
Yeah, I love racing at that place. Everything about it. It's great. The atmosphere, the people, how it's ran, and obviously the pay's just a bonus, and it pays so good through the field, not only just to win, but through the field it's great. I don't think there's anywhere in the country that tops what they do and gives what they give.
That track looked at how different was Knoxville the other night? Because at the bottom it looked like that it was a little bit tricky down on the bottom.
It looked like it had a little moisture down at the bottom, a little bit more than it was up at the top. What did you think?
Yeah, I did. It just, I don't know obviously last weekend they thought it just got gut slick, and it was a gutter around the bottom, and then so I don't know if this week it was pretty windy on Saturday, and obviously it was nice. So I think just getting used to the new dirt, and yeah, it was wet from after it was wet through the heat races, but everyone kind of got down there after it got greasy, and it just kept the track dirty all night, and the time was really fast. So obviously it was like that. It's great for the leader until you get traffic because everyone's in the same spot. So it gets hairy, and you just got to hit your marks right and really know when to pull out a line to keep your run going to get them to the lap car.
You qualified. I'm not going to say bad, but you qualified 7th. Did you feel like you had a chance to win that race starting on the front row?
I think off the front row with how the track, how it was, and yeah, lately just haven't been qualifying great, but come race time we have a good race car, and I knew we'd be good in the A. I feel like I can make pretty good laps around there, and I definitely thought we had a shot to win it, and just knowing how the track was, and we were good in our heat race, so I think I knew we had a good shot to win it, and there wasn't going to be a better opportunity to go win a race than what was presented in front of us, and I think we executed what we needed to do, and we got a win. So I think coming off the front row and how the track was, we did our job.
Yeah, picking up a couple of spots in that heat race was big. 4th to 2nd there to help set you up, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I was kind of bummed that I made a mistake on the start. We had just talked about it. It's big with you can't follow anyone into one on starts, and I didn't do my job, and I kind of followed the guy in second into one. Should have got around I probably would have got around them both going into one, but followed them in and then had to play catch up and gain a few spots the hard way. But it is what it is. We were good around the bottom in the heat race. Actually, I think the guys in front of us were on the top, and we just weren't great. So went to the bottom, and we were really good. So I knew we'd have a good package rolling around the bottom in the A.
It wasn't a smooth 20 laps. There were some hairy crashes in that race. Lots of stoppages there, weren't there?
Yeah, definitely. It was the same with the 360 and the 5A. Just when the track's that fast, everyone's kind of pins and needles. You gotta tight moves just because there's not a slick racetrack to slide guys. So I was kind of fighting for the same spot, and it just inevitably leads up wrecks and just tight racing.
What does it mean to win at Knoxville? It's your first time to win up there. What does it mean to you and your team?
It's huge to the premier class up there, and kind of everyone around this part of the country, around the Midwest. Knoxville's kind of our sacred ground, and everyone wants to win there. And coming up here to run the 360 last year full time for points and getting a win with that was huge. And obviously next on the list was get a 410 win, and it kind of came at a perfect time. How we were right now, we've been mediocre this year, and we knew we could be better. And the win on Saturday was really big for our team to kind of get the momentum rolling and get us in a good spirit. It's not that we've been horrible or down on ourselves. We just knew we can be better, and that kind of kickstarts the year. And to pick up a win that early in the season and at Knoxville is huge. So anytime you can win at Knoxville is huge. And the guys there, Brown, McCarr, the Weekly guys, Chase, are so good. I think it's one of the toughest series in the country, across Pennsylvania to California. I think it's one of the hardest places to win at. Have speed every time we show up is huge.
Do you feel that last year running the 360 give you an advantage to run the 410 this year? Do you feel like?
Yeah, 100%. We ran double duty almost every race. We ran the 360 last year just for that reason. To get double the laps at that place is huge. As many laps as you can get around there is huge. I don't think you can get around enough, honestly. It's just such a tricky place to get around with how the air works, race car, and traffic, and just being behind guys. So I think that's huge. To running last year double duty, to this year just having the upper hand of what the cars do. And I think running a at Knoxville is one of the hardest things to do, and that's something that I've tried watching other drivers. Watching Brown, obviously he's one of the best to do it, and the Outlaws when they come, just watching how they race that racetrack, because you can learn so much.
Yeah, you had a lot of family in Victory Lane. Talk about those people that are involved with your race team.
Yeah, Dennis Moore and his daughter's actually my girlfriend, so that's pretty cool that we've kind of made that come full circle, and I really had no intentions of that, and it just came to that. And I've had so much fun racing with Dennis the last year and a half, and we've obviously got to have some big wins together. He's been one of the biggest key roles to where I am today, and then having Kurt and Devin Fisher come on board last year, and then what it's turned into this year is them starting their first race team. Obviously, they've been around the sport forever, but they've stepped up and into a new role of owning a team, and I think it's been new for both of us, and them learning along with me of just the different parts that come with being an owner, and it's just there's a lot that goes into it. So
right.
Winning obviously helps that a lot.
When I look at people like Jimmy Jones, Dennis Moore Jr., I think that those guys are probably at the top of their game right now when it comes to crew chiefs. What do you think?
Definitely, yeah, 100%. You know, obviously you have your outlaw crew chiefs that those are the ones we're all going to chase, but we really don't have the laps. A lot of these guys do. So a lot of the places we roll into are first time for us. Hadn't been on the road to these places either, so we're unloaded kind of most places we go fresh and without a notebook. So I feel like we're competitive most places, and the places we get to go back to for a second or third time, and then Knoxville we have quite a few laps at, so I feel like our notebook's good there. So everything's just learning for us right now, and it's going to take time, but yeah, I think Moore's on top of his game right now, and we learn every time we unload, so that's huge.
That's not the first time you beat Aaron Reitzel to the checkered flag, wasn't it? When the World of Outlaws was there last year in that 360 car, you outran Reitzel to the checkers, right?
Yep, I think our first three. I think both of them last year he had ran second too. So it's good to get him over him, and I know that stings. So it's good to pick up one of those wins, and it was close. And seeing his nose there at the coming to out of four, you know, just had to be wide and get across the racetrack to get down the front stretch. So anytime you can win over someone that close of a win, those feel good.
Talk about Friday night down at Lee County Speedway in Donaldson. You qualified number one and a third place finish. You had a pretty good night down there Friday night.
Yeah, we had a really good night there. Actually got new track record, so that's pretty good I know that feels good for Ryder, and not only Ryder, but our race team to get a quick time and a new track record. Those feel good. And then, yeah, third place was nice. I think we had a really good car there. We just need to be off the front row. I think yellows didn't fall our way at the very beginning of the race and kind of lost a spot or two there and had to play catch up. But we had a really good race car that night. And nothing to hang your head on running third to those guys. So we built on that, I feel like, and obviously won the next night. So kind of just build on that going into this next 3-night weekend at home.
Man, I was really happy for Garrett Williamson picking up that win up there at Knoxville.
See if he can do it again tonight.
We're going to see if he can do it again tonight.
Yeah. So you think about heading up there?
I'm thinking about heading up there.
Got the camping spot up there?
I got the camping spot up there. I might just run up there and hang out tonight.
Then maybe hang out for the Goodyear tire test on Tuesday up at Iowa.
I might
close to the public, by the way, but
yeah,
you and I are we're on the list.
We're on the list.
Yeah. So Kyle Larson's going to be there too, by the way, up at Iowa Speedway on Tuesday. He's one of the drivers up there going to be testing those Goodyear tires for the upcoming Cup weekend, June 14th through the 16th, which, by the way, World of Outlaws is going to be at Knoxville that same weekend.
Yeah.
So we'll be up there for that. Logan Seavey just finished 7th in the midget race at IRP. He's going to be starting on the outside of the front row of the Hoosier 100-lap Silver Crown race.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's on to Anderson for 500 laps on that little bitty quarter mile.
Man, that would be grueling. 500 laps on that little...
He's going to be tired at the end of today.
On that quarter-mile racetrack, that would be grueling, to be honest with you.
Then we're going to see Logan Seavey, Brady Bacon, and others at Knoxville next weekend for the USAC non-wing sprint cars.
Right.
I'm thinking about heading up to that.
Maybe I'll just stay up there all week.
Yeah, I would. What are you going to do in the meantime up there in Iowa?
Just hang out over at Dingus.
There you go. So we got a lot of great racing going on. Connor Wade is the pit reporter for Dirt Vision's coverage of the World of Outlaws. You saw him at Chillicothe, Ohio, last night at Atomic Speedway. He's going to be there again tonight, Monday night at Fremont. And last weekend...
He does a great job, doesn't he?
Does an outstanding job. And then last weekend at Attica and Sharon Speedway in Ohio. Had those events covered as well. Here is Connor Wade's weekly conversation we had with him on Monday covering the events of last weekend in the World of Outlaws.
Let's start off by talking about David Gravel's win over Donnie Schatz.
Yeah, Saturday night at Sharon, good night. We had a good crowd, and racetrack didn't really change like I think myself and a lot of people thought it would throughout the feature. They had a lot of rain there. The night before, I think they got a ton of rain at like 11 p.m. the night before and had campers stuck and everything. So obviously they kind of had to deal with that, but they did a nice job of getting around it and getting the facility and the surface itself to a point where we could race on it. And it had kind of started to split off a little bit there towards the end of the C and the LCS, and it kind of looked like it was going to dry out a little bit. And then they sent the pro stocks on the track to run their 2B mains, and they kind of brought the moisture back out, and then the slickness that had kind of developed on the bottom kind of went away, and it stayed pretty wet throughout throughout our feature too. But still a great run by David Gravel. He almost lost it with a couple laps to go. I think coming to 4 to go, he caught the berm or something in 3 and 4 and almost spun out. But like I said on the broadcast, David is unbeatable in clean air, and once he gets out there, he's just he's tough to beat. So he's definitely one of the best in the country right now, if not the best.
Yeah, you put him up on the front row of these races, he's going to be almost impossible to beat.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure. He did get lucky. They called that initial start back. He kind of fell back on that first start, but they called silence for jumping it. David even said in Victory Lane that he got lucky there that they called it back, because if not, then he would have not had that track position early on.
David Gravel's got a 54-point lead over Donnie Schatz. Do you feel like there's a little bit of separation between the two of them right now?
Yeah, for sure. There definitely is, but it's still early. We've got a lot of racing left. I mean, a 54-point night lead can be erased in 2 nights. David has 2 bad nights, and Donnie could go straight to the point lead. But I think the second-best car on the tour right now is Carson Macedo, 11 straight top 5s. I know he was pretty upset he didn't get the win Friday night. He definitely should have, and I know he's only won 1 race, but he's just as good as anybody, with probably the exception of David. So I really don't think he's too far off of David. I think Carson will get the second in points here pretty soon if he keeps running the way he has. And, 54 points. There's definitely some separation right now, but it's early. We've got so much racing left all throughout the year.
Well, let's talk about that Friday night race where Buddy Kofoid grabs the lead on the final lap and wins over Carson Macedo. Was Carson pretty surprised about what happened there at the end? I mean, that was a wild finish.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a race of the year candidate. I think Carson just kind of admitted, he got outraced in Victory Lane, but big win for Buddy. We all knew it was coming. We knew it was just a matter of time, as good as they had ran most of the year. So we had definitely seen it coming, and it was good to see Buddy kind of finally break through and get that first win. Obviously, at a place like Attica that he has ran quite a bit, been successful at, and really, really likes too. And the crowd there was pumped to see him get a win too. They became, I know he's from California, but the people in Ohio, people at Attica specifically, became pretty big Buddy Kofoid fans from him running there so much a couple of years ago. So, it was cool to see him get that win. And, that was a wild night, a couple of red flags early on, Sheldon in the work area twice. I don't know how he went back out the second time. And then obviously, a race of the year candidate whenever you talk about the finish. So Attica was a lot of fun Friday night, and I've already ever since then been thinking about the Doty in July and just getting back to that place.
Man, Sheldon Hodenshield, you bring him up. He flipped that car twice during the race, but still came back and salvaged a pretty darn good finish out of that race. What did he end up?
Yeah, he ended up 12th. The car wasn't that tore up after the first flip. They changed the top wing and the Jacobs ladder. And then the second time, though, I mean, Sheldon got out of the car and pretty much said, we're done, and started walking back to the trailer. And Ripper, once they went open red, Ripper was like, hey, stick around. I think we can fix this thing. So they changed another top wing, so then they were on their third wing of the night. And then they didn't change either axle, but both of them were significantly damaged. I mean, the way the left rear was sitting, I don't know if a bird cage was crashed or what, but the way that car was sitting, you could just tell how much damage there was in the rear end. And I really don't know how he went out there and even made laps. That's how tore up the car was. But he did, and fought his way back up to 12th.
Yeah, I mean, Sheldon got completely out of the car. I think he'd given up at that point, but they come out with the front axle and all kinds of parts and pieces, the second wing that he used in the race. I mean, that was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy that he got back out, but I know I've talked before on this show about how important it is for Sheldon to finish races, and that team just did not want to take a DNF Friday night. So it was a nice rebound for sure, and they ended up coming out of it okay.
The other person I want to talk about is Landon Crawley, who came from 25th starting spot to the top 10. It didn't look like he was even going to be able to make this. He was buried deep, and he comes back and gets a 10th place finish that night.
Yeah, took a provisional and just did a really nice job in that feature. He learned the track a little bit throughout the night. Obviously, we've talked all season about how much of a learning curve Landon's got to go through this year, going to new racetracks he's not familiar with whatsoever. And, we've definitely seen the ups and downs of his season to this point, or several ups and downs to the season. And we've seen him experience that learning curve. So, but man, I mean, Landon's proven that whenever he does figure a racetrack out, he can be really good. So, he's got, I think that was his third top 10 of the season, I think, maybe. Looks a lot better, too, after the open red. So, yeah, Landon had I'd say a pretty good debut at Attica. Struggled a little bit Saturday night at Sharon. So, yeah, definitely I would expect Landon to be, even better whenever we go back to Attica in July.
Hey, one other thing about Attica, they brought in new dirt on that racetrack. They'd had great races at Attica, but it had been so dusty. Well, they brought in new dirt to this racetrack, and boy, did they do a great job, and they got rid of the dust. How about that?
Yeah, it's incredible. Everybody at Attica was hyping it up, saying, man, this place races so good now, and, I mean, even better than it did before. Drivers and crews told me it does change the way you set the car up a little bit. It feels a little bit different, just racing on different dirt. It holds moisture a lot better than it used to. It's kind of more of a clay, more of a topsoil as opposed to the sandy dirt that we're used to seeing in Ohio. And it holds moisture. It held moisture really well all weekend. I think. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens whenever Attica gets into June, July, and August, whenever it's 110 degrees outside. And, we'll see if, maybe they have a hard time keeping the dust down, or, maybe they have to water it a little bit more than they normally would, or exactly what they have to do to battle that. But, obviously off to a great start with the new dirt. Everybody's been really, really pleased with it. And I think the fans and the drivers and everybody can be happy with the way it raced Friday night.
I think the biggest surprise of the night at Attica was David Gravel running 11th. That was a big shocker, wasn't it?
Well, he just had a tough heat race. He had a really bad start in the heat race. The track was kind of wide open during the heat races. It wasn't, super racy yet, and he was in that first one. And just had a really bad start, had to get out of the throttle so he didn't get wrecked or anything like that. And then, had a decent qualifying effort, so he started on the pole of the B or the LCS and won it, and actually did a pretty nice job fighting his way up through the field and getting an 11th place finish out of it. So, David could have probably been more aggressive on that start. He probably could have stayed in the throttle a little bit and got crashed. But I thought it was a really smart move on his part to not, have his night completely, completely screwed by getting upside down or something like that. So, not a great Friday night, but he rebounded well on Saturday.
Connor Wade is one of the very best in the business.
He does a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell you another guy that does a great job, his predecessor, Chase Rodman, who's now the voice of the High Limit Racing. He'll be at Port Royal tonight and tomorrow night. We had Chase Rodman on this past weekend talking about all the doings from the High Limit Racing from this past weekend. Let's take a listen to that.
What about Rico's first win with the High Limit Series? What's your thoughts about that?
Well, my first thought is it's about time, right? I mean, 17 races it took him to finally get one out of the way. And believe it or not, that was only the second podium he's had all year in 17 races, So hopefully it's the start of something good for him and get that season turned back around. I don't know what the exact number is you guys might have in front of you, but I know he's over, well over 200 points behind for the championship. And I would say he's probably been eliminated from that, unless something crazy happens. But a tough start to the year, but hopefully this is a sign of good things to come for him.
226 points behind the leader, Brad Sweet, right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be tough to make up with a guy like Brad and a guy like, Sunshine. They've been pretty darn good every race so far this year. But, obviously an important part of this whole first year with High Limit, first 2 years, I guess, would be making sure you're in one of those charter positions, and right now Rico is in one of those spots. Not by very much, though. I think Spencer Basin's pretty close to him back in P6, So, but still, a great weekend for Rico. And hopefully, like I said, he can get things going here. I know he's pretty solid at Port Royal. We got a big weekend coming up as well for going over there, and we'll see if he can keep it going.
You had three different winners this past week, beginning with the midweek event at Kokomo, which was a huge event. Tyler Courtney, kind of a home race for him, $22,000 was a big win for him there at Kokomo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I think the first two cars, I can't remember who ran third in that one, but it was two Indiana guys, 1-2 there with him and Baston in second. He needed a good run, so that was good to see. And, Sunshine got the win, but it was a little bit, it was still, in my opinion, and I'm not just saying this because I work for him, but I still felt like it was a relatively entertaining race, considering that it had taken rubber there towards the end of the race. And that was maybe the first time, maybe the second time I've ever seen Kokomo, lay rubber, which was unfortunate. But it was their first race of the year. They had had a couple rainouts, so they hadn't had much time on the track to, get things dialed in. But they still gave us an entertaining race. There was 1 million people there. We had a ton of cars in the pits, over 45, I think it was. And still a fantastic night of action. And Sunshine able to deny Buddy Kofoid of coming in with the Outlaws and getting the win against High Limit. So that was cool. And Baston 12th to second, and then, Buddy ended up in third. So fun night at Kokomo, and that was one that a lot of people were looking forward to. And, still it was a pretty good race.
Spencer Baston is 33 points behind Rico Abreu, just so you know.
Yeah, 33 points back, and, Baston's won against the Outlaws coming up here at Port Royal, so could be an opportunity potentially for him to, get up there and challenge Rico for that fifth position. So that's something we talked about going into the year. We're going to be watching the battle for the championship and the race for fifth as well, and that race for fifth so far has been relatively entertaining. Jacob Allen not too long ago was up in that spot, and now he's kind of slipped back a little bit here, but now it's between Rico, Baston, and I can't remember who's in the seventh, maybe Peck now, but he can't be too far behind as well.
Man, the one thing I can't get out of my mind from Kokomo was that wild ride Zane DeVault took there. I think it was in the B main on the front straightaway. That was a wicked ride he took.
That was a nasty crash.
Yeah, good to see him pop up out of the car there pretty quickly. But that was full sin mode from Zane DeVault, and he's been pretty good this year. I would say he ran 8th against the Outlaws at Attica, and I think he made the show at Eldora with the Outlaws as well. He's one of those guys keep an eye on here coming up, man. I think that he's got some talent, especially in that Ohio region. But yeah, he was really, really going for it there, and he looked fast, but unfortunately, just like what we saw with a couple other guys, man, hooked the cushion off 4 and climbed up on the wall and took a wild, wild ride. But at least he did it going forward. That's what my dad always told me when I raced. You know, he said, as long as you wreck going forward, that's all that we care about.
Right.
By the way, Kyle Larson took a little bit of a flip at Kokomo as well. Talk about that.
He did. Yeah, he sure did. It's been a rough year in the sprint car for him. You know, he kind of got going at, where were we? And he ran second into the Outlaws of Jacksonville, and then he was, you know, on the podium, I think, both nights at Lakeside, and it looked like things were about to get turned back around for him and get back to victory lane in the sprint car. But then, you know, we go to Kokomo, a place where you would think that he is going to be contending for the win, and gets upside down, and then in the C main doesn't transfer. And then I heard afterwards that apparently there might have been a little miscommunication in the drivers' meeting, or we put, you know, the graphic that we put out for social media saying the format, apparently it said top 4 transfer out of the C main. And that's what he had read online, but it was top 2. And so he kind of got mixed up there and, you know, was kind of riding around in third, kind of figured, you know, I'm in the transfer, don't need to be pushing it, and ended up only taking 2. So a little bit of miscommunication there, but still, even if he did transfer out to the B, it would have been tough to make it through there.
That's the first I'd heard that.
Let me ask you, did that junk out his car? Did it bend the frame on that car?
I'm not sure. I think they did run that same car the rest of the night there. You know, it was a couple barrel rolls. I don't think it really took any really, really hard hits on the front or the rear end. But, you know, that's pretty rare to see Kyle Larson, you know, get upside down in a sprint car these days, especially, you know, when he's battling, you know, for a 5th position in a heat race. You know, I could kind of understand it, you know, if he flips, you know, trying to race for the lead in the feature or something, but going for 5th in the heat race, and that was pretty rare. But, you know, obviously he's got a lot of other things on his mind right now. He's got a lot of important things going on with the Indy 500 and, you know, trying to do the double or whatever at Charlotte as well. So I think that, you know, obviously sprint car racing is very, very important to him, but, you know, he mentioned it on that High Limit Room podcast that it's, you know, this is probably the most important month of racing in his entire career, you know. So to be quite honest, I don't know if sprint car racing is really at the forefront for him right now. He just qualified 5th for the Indy 500, man. I mean, you know, so I think that once that's all, seeing him back in victory lane here pretty soon with the sprint car.
Hey, what'd you think about him qualifying 5th at Indy?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have like regular television or anything to be able to watch it, you know. And last night I went to go try and type in on Google, like, you know, free live stream or something. Couldn't find anything. And by the time I looked it up, I went on Twitter and they had already finished up, you know. So pretty shocking. I think, didn't he go out and he was like 2nd when he went out or something? Then he got bumped back to 5th.
He made 2 qualifying runs to get into the top 12, which he made that, and he made the top 6, and then they requalified the top 6, and he was at the top of the chart until the faster Penske cars got in there, and then he got pushed back to 5th place.
The Penske cars.
The Penske cars were just too fast.
They're going to be hard to beat this weekend.
Now I understand.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Now, I understand Kyle's not going to be able to go to Grandview on Tuesday night because he's going to be where we're going to be at. There's a Goodyear tire test at Iowa Speedway that day, so he's not able to race at Grandview. Is that correct?
Yeah, and, you know, speaking of that, you know, he wasn't going to be able to make it there, and that's kind of why he didn't have that provisional for Kokomo when he didn't make the show there, you know, and everybody's like, well, he's going to have a provisional, so it's all right. Well, you know, he's not a full-time midweek contender anymore. You know, like a guy like a Cole Macedo or Kevin Newton, Cap Henry, those 3 guys are all full-time midweek. They get at least 1 provisional for the midweek series, and Kyle was supposed to have one, and then, you know, came out that he wasn't going to be able to make it to all of them, and so that provisional went away. And it's not very often you see him miss the show at a sprint car race, but that was indeed the case. And, you know, just because of that, you know, tire test, he wasn't able to make it to Grandview, and so that took away that potential provisional for him. So, yeah, not ideal at all, but, you know, it's all right. I mean, it's going to happen every now and again, especially with such a tough field like we had at Kokomo, man. I mean, there was a million cars there, a lot of really good drivers in the non-wing side of things, and, you know, obviously we had an outlaw guy show up and all that. So, you know, still still, it was definitely a sight to see him get upside down, not make it out of the sea, and not be a part of the feature with High Limit.
There you have it. Chase Rodman joining us on Mostly Motorsports, and this Monday we will not be on the air for Mostly Motorsports. Correct?
Looks like you and I are both going to be up in Iowa, right? Monday?
I might be up there. Might be.
So, but you're thinking about heading up Knoxville, so we'll be both up that direction. Normally, I would be down at Wheatland for the Show Me 100, but I'm going to have to watch that on Flow Racing tonight. So that's the only downside about I won't be in.
They don't have any plug-ins for me down there.
Well, they don't. We went to Eldora last year. They didn't have plug-ins. So I guess that happens once in a while.
Well, that means the last time I went to Eldora, I had to run and get gas all the time. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I had to run over and get gas all the time.
But nobody has plug-ins at Eldora, do they?
Nope.
So that's just the way it is. Hey, I was going to ask you, did they race at Callaway Raceway last night? Because the POWRi 410 Sprints was on the schedule for Friday, May 24th.
They rained out.
But I don't see any result. They did rain out.
They rained out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tonight and tomorrow night, Lake Ozark Speedway will be the scene of 410 Wing POWRi sprint cars. They'll have POWRi War non-wing sprints, 305 sprints, also on the card tonight and tomorrow night at Lake Ozark Speedway. And I assume they're racing at Double X Speedway tomorrow night, too.
I would assume they are. Yeah.
So we got that going on. And, there's all kinds of racing. Wherever I know there's 2 big nights of racing at Central Missouri Speedway tonight and tomorrow night as well. So
what were the results at Lakeside last night? Do you know?
They had, and I had that pulled up here just a little bit ago. They had B-Mods, John Sheets beat Tim Carrick and Shadron Turner. Kerry Davis 4th, Chad Clancy 5th. That was B-Mods last night. Ethan Isaacs winning in the E-Mod class. John Snyder breaking Ed Knowles' winning streak in the Pure Stock division. Jaden Weddingle winning in the USRA Stock Car division last night at Lakeside Speedway.
I thought about going out to Lakeside last night, but to be honest with you, there wasn't any sprint cars out there.
And you like the sprint cars?
I am so obsessed with sprint cars.
I was immersed with everything going on at Wheatland for the Don and Billy Gibson tribute. That's what I was watching last night. And the World of Outlaws and Atomic.
I watched it last night as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So had that working last night. So I spent the night at home because I'd get ready to leave town today. So tomorrow the weather doesn't look great in Indianapolis
for the Indy 500.
They're calling for rain right about the time this thing is supposed to fire off,
and that's supposed to be on WHB as well.
Yeah,
right?
We're carrying
810
that
WHB.
Yep, radio. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I know we're all picking for Kyle Larson as our favorite, but who do you think's going to win? I know that's who we want to win.
I'm picking Joseph Newgarden to win, become the first back-to-back winners of the Indy 500 since Elio did it in 01-02. That's my choice.
How about I don't know. It's hard to pick against any of these guys that are obviously favorites, but I'm going to go with Rossi as an outside.
He's got a good shot at it. He's got a fast race car.
He's got a very fast race car, like you said.
Yeah.
The guys I want to win are the guys that I've talked to at the Chili Bowl many times, Kyle Larson and Santino Ferrucci.
There you go.
I've interviewed.
Driving for A.J. Foyt, how big would that be?
Let me tell you something. When you're driving for A.J. Foyt, you got to be pulling your weight, right? And Santino's not a very big guy. When I interviewed him, I was amazed at how small that he was. And all those drivers are little guys,
really
right?
guys.
And but I'm going to pull for Santino and Kyle Larson as my the ones I want to win. And like you said, I think Rossi is who's starting on.
McLaughlin is who I'm picking.
There you go, Joe.
Another Penske driver.
Right.
After that cheating scandal when they were using the push to
he got busted, didn't he?
A few weeks back. Remember that?
Right.
Roger Penske got caught for cheating.
Got busted.
And I wouldn't think you would pick a Penske driver because, Scott, you don't like track owners with their own teams out on the racetrack.
Yeah, Penske
and
does
Roger
own the track
Penske
now.
Owns
he does own the track.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so I'm surprised you would pick one of his drivers.
How about Helio Castro Neves with a sentimental victory?
That
would be awesome. Like you said, I've been a Helio fan. I bought my NASCAR tickets my Kansas Speedway tickets just to go watch Helio race out there.
Yep.
To watch the IndyCar, like you said, he's a sentimental. He's a Brazilian. Back in the day when I was watching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and was following all these MMA guys that were coming out of Brazil, and then I heard about this guy who had a name that was spelled just like all these Gracie fighters were, and I thought, man, I'm going to follow this guy, and man, he's a really good guy, and like you said, a nice guy too. Helio is one of the nicest guys that, like you said, very, very.
I'll tell you another
lovable.
nice guy, and we dealt with him out at Kansas Speedway too. The last 2 years they ran Indy cars out there. Couldn't meet a nicer guy. Scott Dixon.
Scott Dixon was always nice.
He won the last two at Kansas Speedway, and you couldn't meet a nicer guy. Coming from the outside of the 7th row, he posted the fastest speed in Carb Day practice yesterday. Scott Dixon has won an Indy 500. That was back in 2008. I think he's got a good shot.
He's got a shot, too.
The nicest person that I've ever met in IndyCar racing is Dan Weldon.
Dan Weldon.
Dan's really
God
nice
bless
person.
him.
Yep, no doubt.
He was really
God
nice
bless
guy.
his soul.
Yep.
Yeah, he lost his life out there in Las Vegas. What's that been? 13 years ago already.
Has it been that many
It
years?
has been. Yeah, it was right before I started working
Kirk
with
would
you.
know how many years ago it was.
It was right before I started working.
2011.
Yeah, before I started working with you guys. Yeah.
He was a 2-time Indy 500 winner, Dan Weldon.
Yep.
So we miss him a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, you couldn't
He
meet
was
a greater guy than Dan Weldon.
He was the best guy that I've ever met in IndyCar racing.
But I love the Indy 500. I like the pre-race pageantry. There's nothing else like it when they do the back home again, Indiana, and all of that. There is nothing. This race always delivers, don't you think, Scott or Todd?
Absolutely. And when I was a little kid,
this race always delivers.
when you're a little kid and you had 3 channels, remember back in the day, and you had 3 or 4 channels. But when the Indy, it was on all day, it felt like, right? As a little kid, it started on. There was so much stuff on.
Well, they didn't carry it live until 1986.
Until the 86, exact. And what I could always remember, you tune into Wide World of Sports, right? And you would see always the big clip the following weekend.
Jim McKay
doing all that. And so it was, like you said, what I put it with is kind of like the Kentucky Derby with the prestige and everything. It's going on the infield. The debauchery that happens on the infield, and people know. It's just crazy when you're at a weekend.
Did you see where LB checked in from Anderson, Indiana?
Yeah, and we had somebody actually checking in.
Dan Anderson.
And Kelly checked in from Central Point, Oregon as well.
We had somebody check in right from Gasoline Alley this morning.
7K Racing is listening from Minnesota. And also, we've got a... Scott checked in from Gasoline Alley at Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well.
Two big focuses of attention. Gasoline Alley tomorrow. Today, Anderson, Indiana with the little 500. We'll see how Logan Seavey does in that race. But, man, it's this one of my favorite weekends the whole year. Tomorrow, the Indy 500. You got the Coke 600. Very long race, but it was a great race last year, the Coke 600. So we'll see what happens again. Ryan Blaney won the Coke 600 a year ago, so we'll see if he can do it again or some surprise driver steps up and gets it done in the 600-miler tomorrow night. I think the weather's okay in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Indy's the big
shaky.
question, and how this is all going to play out with Kyle Larson. If they delay that IndyCar race, he's going to have to go to Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he won't be able to. I know they have who's driving, who's somebody's prepared. I saw yet last night the driver that's ready to step in for Kyle in case something should happen. The seat fits him, everything, and they don't even have to change the seat, they said. Everything. I can't remember who the driver was that's ready for him. But, man, tonight, guys, if you're in the Midwest here, from Oklahoma up to, Nebraska.
It's going to be bad.
It's overnight. So just have your weather radar and maybe your
Could
app.
get rained out down there at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Yeah,
I think what Ben Shelton was telling us earlier, that
They're gonna
all
be
of that is
fine.
supposed to be after. Late into the night, in the overnight hours is when we're supposed to get the bad weather.
Like in the morning, 5 a.m., 4 a.m.,
So
3
I think
a.m.
we're okay for tonight.
Yeah, no, I think your racing's all going to be fine. My biggest concern is everybody's going to be asleep.
Yeah, in the middle of the night.
It's the middle of the night stuff. And so
Right.
just have your weather app. If you've got one on your thing, make sure your app's not muted. You can unmute that app. And
That's
that way,
a loud thing when that goes off.
well,
too.
it'll jump you up out of bed when that app goes off and let you know there's weather in the area. So,
Hey, Kirk, the Silver Crown race has an accident going on right now.
yeah,
they do.
They had a. I just saw that.
Hoosier 100 is underway as
They've
we
got a
speak.
red flag situation going on where they've stopped the car.
And I don't think that driver's
Oh,
happy
no.
with the other driver.
I didn't see what happened.
It ain't a red flag situation. Sorry, it's
Right.
yellow flag. The red flag is what that driver should have in his hand because he's not happy.
They've got 58 laps to go in that race. Cody Swanson leading Tyler Rohrig, Bobby Santos the third, Logan Seavey, who started outside the front row, is currently running fourth, with Dakota Armstrong fifth. 58 laps to go, 57 to go now.
And they cut away after that.
So he lay down on the racetrack?
Yeah, he sat down. I don't know.
I didn't see what happened.
I thought he was arguing. Obviously, he was there for a second, but then the official helped him to the ground, and then they cut away. So, hope everybody's okay at that race today. Like you said, all the racing going on this weekend. Be safe out there heading to and fro from all this place. It is Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
A
lot of traffic on the road.
Lots
right
of
now.
traffic. Hey, slow down out there too, guys. Let's get home this weekend and it's
Be safe.
There's a lot of people driving extremely fast out there. There's a lot of these wrecks. I just saw the Highway Patrol just post, the Kansas-Nebraska Highway Patrol just post that they've increased ticket giving for speeds. They're not really looking for a lot of other things, but if you're jutting over that, they're giving you a 7 or 8, guys, but we're talking about the 20-mile-an-hour guys over. They're really coming down on you. So just back her down a little bit this weekend.
I only run 78 mile an hour
Yeah.
because I've ran all over the country traveling at 78 mile an hour.
And you're good.
I've never been pulled over for 78 mile an hour.
Hey, I just want to throw this out here. Kevin Swindell, if you're listening, we're thinking about you. He's going through some
Health issues?
with some procedures that's got to be done there, and he's going to be out of commission operating a race car till probably the Nationals at Knoxville.
Yep.
Right.
And so we're thinking about you, Kevin. Hope to see you back real soon.
It sounds more like it's what has happened is this is just a result of, we got some tissues, some scar tissue building up.
Right.
Harley White had the same issue. When your body repairs, it tightens up. Heck, when I had my surgery, guys, from belly to groin, was cut open. Well, that scar, they told me to make sure that I wasn't hunched over while it was healing, because what happens is that skin
draws up.
It draws up and it'll tighten up. So scar tissue is tough, and so anytime you've dealt with a major surgery like Kevin obviously has, he's going to have some and he's got the best care. And so, like you said, we're thinking about Kevin, and he'll be back stronger than ever. After all this stuff.
No doubt.
One other note, I didn't get this in earlier. Corey Heim was DQ'd from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Charlotte last night for only 3 lug nuts on one of the wheels following post-race
only 3
inspection.
lug nuts.
Now, he was clearly the fastest car.
And he was fast off of...
He was the fastest truck on the racetrack last night, as he has been for a number of races now. He won at North Wilkesboro last weekend. But last night, during one of the pit stops, they had a problem with a jack. The jack man had to go around and get another jack to come around that put him way back. He came up and still finished second behind race winner Nick Sanchez, but a post-race inspection, Corey Heim was DQ'd.
The jack man did his job, but the gun guy missed a few lugs, it sounds like.
And what about the gas man that
did you see
last
that?
night?
The gas guy got hooked on that thing, and I mean, it could have gotten bad, but the can.
I didn't see it.
Halfway down pit road, the can was still bouncing.
The gas can got stuck in the nozzle there, and he tried to pull it out, and
they were yelling at him, "Get it out, get it out!" And he tried as much as he could.
It was Honeycutt. Was the driver, and started to pull away, and the gas man tried to get the gas can out of the nozzle, and he got dragged for a little bit. I guess he's okay.
He's all right. I got a little worried when I saw it too, because I thought, you better just let go. There's no penalty ain't worth getting drugged down pit road for, my
no
friend.
reason getting drugged down pit road.
No.
Right. Yep. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here. It's all been brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Don't forget, we will not be on Monday. But we'll be here next Saturday. For sure. All right, for Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Sports Radio 810 WHP.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.